All right, guys, so here's the second part of today's lesson, and we're going to talk about solving right triangles and what that means. So it means to calculate the missing side lengths and angle measures of a right triangle. So when you are evaluating your you're going to use sine, cosine, or tangent, you need to make sure your calculator is in degree mode, and you're going to check on that by finding the mode button. It's on the left-hand side of your TI 83 or 84, whichever one you're using. There will be a button that says radian or degree. I think it's once you hit mode, it's the third one down, I believe, and you want to make sure that degree is highlighted. So scroll over to that, make sure it's highlighted, and then you can quit out of there, and you are set and ready to go. So evaluating angles in the calculator. So if you put in sine of 52 degrees and you put in sine of or cosine of 122, you should be checking to see what you are going to get when you put those in. So I'm not going to be able to type them in here, but for the sine of 52 degrees, you should have something like 0.788. Zero will go out about 4 decimal places. So that is the ratio that you get always for the sine of 52 degrees. When you have cosine of 122, that will be negative 0.5299. Okay, so next, tangent of 45. Make sure, guys, that you are actually doing these and trying them, and make sure you can figure out how to get the same answers. Tangent of 45 should be 1. And sine of 0, what happens when you put in sine of 0? Well, you're going to get 0 all the way across. And then cosine of 90, when you put that in, you also get 0. And the tangent of 90, you are going to get an error because it's not going to work, because you're actually, well, we could talk about that when I get back into class. So next slide, if we're going to take a look at solving for x and y, you've got, here's your right triangle, one side length is 250, your x and your y's are on your triangle sides, and you have an angle measure of 37. Why can't you use a Pythagorean theorem? Okay, you should be able to answer that question by the time I come in tomorrow. I'm not going to give you the answer for that one. Think about what you need in order to use the Pythagorean theorem. I talked about it in the earlier slideshow. Hypotenuse, label your sides, opposite leg, adjacent leg, so that you know which trig function to use. Since we've got opposite, we're going to use opposite leg over the adjacent leg. We're going to use the tangent of 37, and when you multiply the tangent of 37 by 250, when you cross multiply, you're going to get 188.4. So it's really the math, guys, here. So your length for x is 188.4. Using cosine of 37, adjacent leg over the hypotenuse, then we can solve for y the same way, but you're going to end up dividing by the cosine of 37, and your y is 313. Which side should be the longest, and why? And does that work out? You have the right answers that appear in your problem. So next slide, we're going to solve for x and y. You are going to copy this triangle down, and whoops, let me go back. You're going to copy that triangle. So pause this, stop it, whatever you need to do. Copy that triangle, and I want you to use the last example as a way to work this one out. We'll talk about your answers tomorrow. And there is one more. I want you to also copy this problem down. Pause the video, copy it down, make sure you have all the information. And I've even been nice enough to label the legs and hypotenuse for you. So figure out the trig functions you're going to use and solve those missing side lengths. So I'm going to stop right there, and that will finish up the one part about finding missing